Commander Zektar of the Celestial Federation pressed his elongated fingers against the viewing portal of his flagship. Below them, the blue marble called Earth rotated slowly, its white clouds swirling across continents that seemed impossibly dense with life. His species, the Vorthek, had evolved on a moon with gravity barely 1/8 that of this world, and the very thought of setting foot on such a massive planet made his delicate bones ache. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from the surface," reported Communications Officer Yilna, her voice carrying the melodic tones typical of their species. The beings call themselves humans, and they appear to be requesting peaceful contact. Zektar nodded, his large, multifaceted eyes reflecting the starlight. The Federation had encountered hundreds of species across the galaxy, but none that had evolved on such a brutally heavy world. According to their sensors, Earth's gravitational pull was nearly 10 times stronger than their homeworld. How could any intelligent life possibly survive under such crushing conditions? They must be incredibly fragile, mused Science Officer Kelvar, reviewing the atmospheric data on his holographic display. "Look at these readings. Their planet's gravity would snap our bones like dried reeds. These humans have likely developed some form of advanced medical technology to support their weakened skeletal structures." The crew murmured in agreement. It was the only logical explanation. Any species that evolved under such intense gravitational stress would surely be frail, perhaps even requiring mechanical assistance just to move around their own planet. They probably lived short, painful lives, constantly fighting against the crushing weight of their world. "Prepare the diplomatic shuttle," Zektar ordered, "but ensure our medical bay is fully equipped. These poor creatures will likely need immediate assistance once they experience normal gravity conditions. Their bodies might go into shock from the sudden relief." As the shuttle bay doors opened, revealing the small craft designed for low-gravity diplomatic missions, the crew worked with practiced efficiency. They loaded extra medical supplies, lightweight stretchers, and emergency life support systems. The shuttle's artificial gravity generators were calibrated to gradually reduce gravitational stress, allowing the humans to slowly adjust to more comfortable conditions. Dr. Helrix, the ship's chief medical officer, reviewed her notes on theoretical heavy world biology. "I've prepared several treatment protocols," she announced to the diplomatic team. "Based on our models, these humans likely suffer from chronic bone density issues, muscle atrophy, and cardiovascular strain. We should be prepared for immediate medical intervention." The shuttle launched smoothly from the Federation flagship, carrying Ambassador Mortax and his team toward Earth's surface. As they descended through the atmosphere, the crew marveled at the planet's intense electromagnetic field and dense atmospheric composition. Everything about this world seemed designed to crush and exhaust any life forms that dared to exist upon it. "Ambassador," the pilot reported, "we're receiving coordinates for a landing site. The humans have designated something called Kennedy Space Center for our arrival. Their communications indicate they have prepared a delegation to meet us." Mortax adjusted his ceremonial robes and checked his translation device one final time. As an experienced diplomat, he had negotiated with species ranging from the silicon-based crystalline collective to the energy beings of the nebula states. Yet none of those encounters had prepared him for meeting a species that lived under such harsh planetary conditions. "Remember," he addressed his team, "we must be extremely careful not to accidentally injure these beings. A simple handshake could potentially break their bones. Move slowly, speak softly, and be prepared to offer immediate medical assistance. Their very survival on such a world speaks to their remarkable courage, even if their bodies have been weakened by the harsh environment." The shuttle touched down gently on the designated landing pad, its advanced stabilizers compensating for the heavy gravitational pull. Through the viewports, the diplomatic team could see a gathering of beings approaching their landing site. The humans appeared to be bipedal, roughly humanoid in shape, but they moved with surprising grace considering the crushing weight they must be enduring every moment of their lives. "Look how they struggle to walk upright," whispered one of the junior diplomats. "Yet they maintain their dignity despite their obvious physical limitations. Truly remarkable." Ambassador Mortax activated the external communication system. "Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace as representatives of the Celestial Federation. We understand the great difficulty your species faces living under such harsh planetary conditions, and we wish to offer our assistance and friendship. The response came quickly, transmitted through their universal translators. A human voice, strong and clear, replied, "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. We are honored by your visit and look forward to establishing peaceful relations between our peoples. Our delegation is ready to meet with you whenever you feel prepared to emerge from your vessel." What struck the Federation team as odd was the confidence in the human's voice. Despite living under conditions that would be torture for most galactic species, these beings seemed almost cheerful. Perhaps their medical technology was more advanced than initially calculated, or maybe they had developed some form of psychological adaptation to cope with their tragic circumstances. "Prepare the medical support team," Mortax ordered quietly. "And remember, these beings have shown incredible resilience just by surviving on this world. We must treat them with the utmost respect and care." The shuttle's airlock hissed open, and Ambassador Mortax stepped onto the surface of Earth for the first time. Immediately, he felt the crushing weight of the planet's gravity pressing down upon his lightweight frame. His specially designed support suit whirred quietly as its servos compensated for the intense gravitational field. But even with technological assistance, each step required considerable effort. Behind him, his diplomatic team emerged more slowly, their movements careful and measured. Dr. Helrix had insisted on portable gravity compensation fields for the entire party, and now Mortax understood why. Without the technology, the sheer weight of this world would have likely crushed them within minutes. Across the landing pad, a group of humans approached with confident strides. The ambassador was struck by how they moved with apparent ease despite the hellish conditions they lived under. Their delegation consisted of 5 individuals, and as they drew closer, Mortax could observe their physique more clearly. The humans appeared surprisingly robust for beings living under such gravitational torture, though he assumed their bulky appearance was due to medical support systems hidden beneath their clothing. "Ambassador Mortax," said the lead human, a tall female with short brown hair and what appeared to be ceremonial markings around her collar. "I am Dr. Sarah Chen, Director of the International Space Cooperation Agency. We are deeply honored by your arrival." The ambassador activated his translation protocols and bowed carefully, his support suit adjusting to maintain his balance. "Dr. Chen, the honor is ours. The Celestial Federation has traveled far to meet your remarkable species. We must express our admiration for your people's incredible endurance in surviving such challenging planetary conditions." Dr. Chen's expression seemed puzzled for a moment before transforming into what the ambassador's cultural database identified as a smile. "Thank you for your kind words. We're curious to learn more about your civilization as well. Perhaps we could retire to our conference facility where we can speak more comfortably." As they walked toward a large white building in the distance, Mortax noticed something that troubled his understanding of heavy world biology. The humans moved with a fluid, natural gait that suggested their bodies were not struggling against gravity. As much as his calculations predicted, perhaps their species had developed internal mechanical augmentation to a degree far beyond Federation technology. "Dr. Chen," he ventured carefully, "we have prepared extensive medical facilities aboard our vessel. Our doctors are eager to offer any assistance your people might require. We understand that living under such intense gravitational stress must place enormous strain on your biological systems." The human delegation exchanged glances that the ambassador couldn't quite interpret. Dr. Chen maintained her smile, though it seemed to have gained a different quality. "That's very thoughtful, Ambassador. However, I'm curious about what you mean by gravitational stress. Could you elaborate on your concerns?" Mortax gestured toward the sky, where his flagship was visible as a distant point of light. "Our scientific teams have analyzed your planet's specifications. Earth's gravitational field is approximately 9.8 meters per second squared, which is nearly 10 times the surface gravity of our homeworld. We cannot imagine how any species could evolve and thrive under such crushing conditions without developing severe physiological adaptations." Dr. Chen stopped walking and turned to face the ambassador directly. For the first time since their meeting began, her expression became serious. "Ambassador, I think we need to clarify something important. Earth's gravity isn't a burden for us. It's our natural environment. We evolved here over millions of years. Our bodies are perfectly adapted to these conditions." The Federation delegation came to an abrupt halt. Dr. Helrich stepped forward, her medical scanner already active and focused on Dr. Chen. Forgive the intrusion, but may I take some basic biological readings? Our understanding of heavy world evolution is quite limited, and this could provide valuable scientific data. Of course, Dr. Chen agreed, standing still while the alien device hummed and clicked around her body. Dr. Helrick studied her scanner's display with growing amazement. Ambassador, these readings are extraordinary. This human's bone density is nearly 3 times greater than our own. Her muscle fiber composition shows incredible tensile strength, and her cardiovascular system operates under pressure levels that would be fatal to most Federation species. Another human, a large male with graying hair, stepped forward with a friendly grin. I'm General Marcus Webb, United States Space Command. Doc, are you saying we're built tougher than you folks? The question hung in the air like a challenge, though it was delivered with unmistakable good humor. Ambassador Mortax felt his worldview shifting as the implications became clear. These weren't fragile beings struggling against their environment. They were creatures perfectly adapted to conditions that would kill most galactic civilizations. General Webb, the ambassador said slowly, are you telling us that your species considers these gravitational conditions normal? That you don't require medical assistance or technological support to function under such intense pressure? General Webb's grin widened. Ambassador, we've been living with Earth's gravity for so long that we've actually had to build special training facilities to simulate lower gravity conditions for our space program. Our astronauts have to work hard just to learn how to move properly in weightless environments. Dr. Helrix was frantically taking readings of the entire human delegation, her excitement growing with each scan. Sir, their bone structure could withstand impacts that would pulverize our skeletons. Their muscle density suggests they could easily overpower most Federation species through physical strength alone. The humans seemed to sense the aliens' growing unease. Dr. Chen raised her hands in a peaceful gesture. Please don't be alarmed. We have no intention of using our physical capabilities aggressively. We're a peaceful species seeking friendship and cooperation with other civilizations, but Ambassador Mortax was beginning to understand that the Federation's first contact protocols might need significant revision. They had come to Earth expecting to aid a struggling species, only to discover they had made contact with beings who were physically superior to most known galactic life forms. Inside the conference facility, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense as both species began to understand the true nature of their physiological differences. The humans had graciously provided chairs designed for various alien body types, and the Federation delegation settled into their seats with visible relief as the furniture's built-in gravity compensators reduced the strain on their frames. Dr. Chen activated a holographic display showing Earth's basic planetary statistics. Ambassador, perhaps we should start with some fundamental comparisons. Earth has a mass of approximately 5.97 times 10 to the 24th kilograms, with a surface gravity of 9.807 meters per second squared. What are the conditions like on your homeworld? Dr. Helrix consulted her datapad before responding. Our homeworld, Vorthak Prime, has a surface gravity of only 1.2 meters per second squared. Most Federation member worlds fall within a range of 0.8 to 2.3 meters per second squared. Your planet's gravitational field is unlike anything in our database of inhabited worlds. General Webb leaned back in his chair, a gesture that would have been impossible for the aliens without technological assistance. So when you folks travel between worlds, you're usually dealing with similar gravity conditions to your homeworld? Precisely, Ambassador Mortax confirmed. Most intelligent species evolved on worlds with relatively comparable gravitational fields. It's one of the factors that makes interstellar cooperation possible. We can visit each other's worlds with minimal technological adaptation. Dr. Chen exchanged a meaningful look with General Webb. Would you be interested in a practical demonstration of human capabilities under Earth's gravity? Nothing dangerous, just some basic activities that might help illustrate our natural adaptation to these conditions. The ambassador hesitated, consulting quietly with his team. Dr. Helrix nodded enthusiastically, her scientific curiosity overriding any concerns about safety. From a research standpoint, such a demonstration would be invaluable. Dr. Chen led both delegations to an adjacent facility that appeared to be some kind of gymnasium. The space was filled with various equipment that the aliens didn't immediately recognize, though their translation software identified terms like weights, exercise machines, and training apparatus. A young human male entered the room, wearing simple athletic clothing. Dr. Chen introduced him as Lieutenant Jake Morrison from the Space Force Physical Training Program. Lieutenant Morrison represents fairly average human physical capabilities, she explained. He's not an elite athlete, just a healthy individual in good condition. Lieutenant Morrison approached a rack of metallic objects that Dr. Helrich's scanner identified as extremely dense iron alloys. He selected what appeared to be a bar with circular weights attached to each end, lifting it effortlessly and placing it across his shoulders. This is called a barbell, Dr. Chen explained. Lieutenant Morrison is currently supporting approximately 225 pounds, or about 102 kilograms of mass, in addition to his own body weight of roughly 180 pounds. The Federation delegation watched in stunned silence as the human performed a series of squatting motions, repeatedly lifting and lowering the massive weight with apparent ease. Dr. Helrichs frantically calibrated her scanner to verify the readings. The gravitational stress he's voluntarily subjecting himself to would crush our bones instantly, she whispered to Ambassador Mortax. Yet he appears to be exerting himself only moderately. Lieutenant Morrison returned the barbell to its rack and moved to another piece of equipment. This time, he gripped a horizontal bar mounted high on the wall and proceeded to lift his entire body weight repeatedly, pulling himself upward until his chin cleared the bar. These exercises are part of our basic fitness requirements, General Webb explained casually. Every member of our military forces must be able to perform these movements to maintain their physical readiness. Ambassador Mortax realized his hands were trembling slightly, and not just from the gravitational strain. Dr. Chen, are you telling us that your military personnel routinely exercise by voluntarily increasing the stress their bodies experience under your already crushing gravitational field? That's correct, she confirmed. Physical fitness is important for human health and performance. We actually find that regular exercise under Earth's gravity helps us maintain our strength and endurance. Dr. Helrich stepped closer to Lieutenant Morrison, her scanner active. Sir, may I ask what would happen if you were suddenly transported to a world with gravity similar to ours, roughly 1/10 of Earth's gravitational field? The young human considered the question seriously. Well, ma'am, I suppose I'd be able to jump really high and lift things that would normally be quite heavy. It might take some getting used to, controlling my movements and all. Could you demonstrate a normal jumping motion here on Earth? The doctor requested. Lieutenant Morrison shrugged and performed a simple vertical jump, easily clearing more than 3 feet off the ground before landing softly. The Federation delegation gasped collectively as they calculated the explosive power required to launch that much mass against Earth's gravitational pull. In our gravity, Dr. Helrichs murmured, that jump would have carried him nearly 30 feet into the air. General Webb nodded thoughtfully. That's actually something we've had to consider for our space exploration programs. Our astronauts have to train extensively to avoid accidentally launching themselves into walls and ceilings. When they're working in low-gravity environments, the demonstration continued with increasingly impressive displays of human physical capability. Lieutenant Morrison effortlessly carried multiple heavy objects, performed complex acrobatic movements, and maintained perfect balance while subjecting his body to stresses that would have been fatal to any Federation species. As the session concluded, Ambassador Mortax found himself reevaluating everything the Federation thought it knew about the relationship between planetary gravity and intelligent life. These humans weren't struggling against their environment. They were thriving in conditions that would destroy most galactic civilizations. Dr. Chen, he said quietly, I believe we need to have a very different conversation about what Earth's membership in the Federation might mean for both our peoples. The return journey to the Federation flagship was conducted in contemplative silence. Ambassador Mortax stared out the shuttle's viewport at the massive planet below, his mind struggling to process the implications of what they had witnessed. The communications array crackled to life as they approached the docking bay. Ambassador, this is Commander Zektar, came the voice from the bridge. How did the initial contact proceed? Are the humans in need of immediate medical assistance as predicted? Mortax exchanged glances with Dr. Helrichs, whose scientific instruments were still analyzing the biological data she had collected. Commander, we need to convene an emergency briefing with all senior staff. Our initial assessments about human physiology were significantly incorrect. Within an hour, the flagship's main conference room was filled with the expedition's leadership. Commander Zektar, Science Officer Kelvar, Chief Medical Officer Helric, Security Chief Torval, and several other department heads gathered around the holographic display table, their expressions ranging from curiosity to concern. Dr. Helrix activated her presentation, filling the room with three-dimensional models of human anatomy. Colleagues, what we discovered today fundamentally challenges our understanding of heavy world evolution. These humans are not struggling against their planet's gravity. They have evolved to become its masters. The skeletal structure appeared first, highlighting the dense, thick bones that formed the human frame. Their bone density is approximately 300% greater than our own. The calcium phosphate matrix that comprises their skeleton could withstand impacts that would shatter our bones like glass. Next came the muscular system, rendered in precise detail. Their muscle fiber composition is unlike anything in our biological database. Fast twitch and slow twitch fibers are distributed in patterns that provide both explosive power and endurance capabilities far exceeding any known Federation species. Commander Zektar leaned forward, his large eyes reflecting the holographic display. Are you saying these beings pose a physical threat to Federation personnel? Not intentionally, Dr. Helrix replied quickly. Their behavior demonstrates peaceful intentions. However, their physical capabilities are extraordinary. A single human could potentially overpower multiple Federation security officers without technological assistance. Security Chief Torval, a member of the warrior Kethari species, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His people were among the most physically capable in the Federation, evolved hunters with natural weapons and enhanced reflexes. Doctor, are you certain about these readings? My species has served as Federation peacekeepers for centuries. We have never encountered a naturally evolved species with such physical advantages. I triple-checked every measurement, Dr. Helrix confirmed. During their demonstration, I observed a human perform a vertical jump that generated approximately 2,400 newtons of force. In our gravity, that same individual could leap nearly 10 times their body height. Science Officer Kelvar was furiously calculating on his personal display. The energy requirements for their basic metabolic functions must be enormous. How do they sustain such dense biological structures? Ambassador Mortax activated another section of the presentation, showing Earth's atmospheric and biological diversity. Their planet is remarkably rich in resources. The heavy gravity has compressed their atmosphere to provide more oxygen per cubic meter than most worlds. Their food sources have evolved similar density characteristics, plants and animals that pack enormous nutritional value into compact forms. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Earth wasn't just a heavy world that had produced tough inhabitants, it was a biological forge that had created beings capable of functioning at physical levels that most Federation species could barely comprehend. Commander Zektar spoke carefully. Ambassador, what are the humans' intentions regarding Federation membership? Do they seek to join our alliance? They expressed interest in peaceful cooperation and cultural exchange, Mortax replied. However, I believe we need to reconsider our standard integration protocols. These beings don't need our protection or technological assistance to survive in hostile environments. In fact, they might be the ones offering protection to us. Dr. Helrix pulled up a comparative analysis showing various Federation worlds and their gravitational fields. If humans were to visit our homeworlds, they would possess physical capabilities that could be described as superhuman. A human diplomat could accidentally cause serious injury with a simple handshake. But they seemed aware of their strength, observed Ambassador Mortax. Dr. Chen and her team were careful in their movements around us. They understand the physical differences and appear committed to avoiding harm. Security Chief Torval was studying tactical assessments on his private screen. From a military perspective, human soldiers would be devastating in ground combat. Their natural physical advantages, combined with their planet's environmental challenges, have likely produced warriors unlike anything the galaxy has seen. Yet they showed no aggression, Commander Zektar noted. If anything, they seemed concerned about making us comfortable despite our obvious physical limitations. Science Officer Kelvar looked up from his calculations with an expression of wonder. The evolutionary pressures that shaped this species must have been extraordinary. Earth's gravity, atmospheric density, and biological complexity have created beings that are essentially living weapons. Yet they have developed advanced civilization and peaceful intentions. Dr. Helrichs nodded agreement. Their medical knowledge alone could revolutionize Federation healthcare. They understand biological systems operating under extreme stress, knowledge that could help us improve life support systems and emergency medical procedures. Ambassador Mortax stood slowly, his support suit adjusting to maintain his balance. The question before us is not whether humans would make valuable Federation allies. The question is whether the Federation is prepared to welcome a species that could fundamentally change the balance of power in galactic politics. Commander Zektar considered this statement gravely. We came here expecting to offer aid to a struggling species. Instead, we have discovered a civilization that might be more advanced in biological evolution than any known Federation member. What do you recommend, Ambassador? Asked the commander. Mortax looked around the room at his colleagues, each representing different aspects of Federation society and policy. I recommend we proceed with formal diplomatic contact, but with complete honesty about our physical limitations. These humans have shown remarkable restraint and consideration. If we approach them with respect and openness, they could become not just allies, but teachers. 3 days later, the Federation delegation returned to Earth's surface for the first formal cultural exchange session. This time they came better prepared with enhanced gravity suits and a clearer understanding of human capabilities. The meeting location had been moved to a specially modified facility that could accommodate both species' needs. Dr. Chen greeted them with her characteristic warm smile, though Ambassador Mortax now noticed the careful precision with which she moved. Every gesture was controlled, measured to avoid any accidental contact that might injure the alien visitors. The humans had clearly been briefed on Federation physiology. Ambassador, we've prepared presentations about human history, culture, and scientific achievements, Dr. Chen announced. We thought you might find it interesting to understand how our world shaped our development as a species. The presentation began with Earth's geological history, showing how the planet's formation had resulted in its dense core and powerful gravitational field. Dr. Chen explained how early life had adapted to these conditions, developing increasingly robust biological structures over millions of years. Our ancestors faced constant challenges, she continued, displaying images of various Earth terrains, mountain ranges that would crush beings adapted to lower gravity, ocean depths where pressure could implode most spacecraft, and weather systems driven by our planet's intense rotational forces. Science Officer Kelvar was fascinated by the atmospheric data. Your weather patterns involve pressure differentials and wind speeds that would be considered catastrophic events on most Federation worlds. Yet your species developed agriculture and permanent settlements despite these conditions. Actually, we learned to work with our environment rather than against it, explained Dr. Maria Santos, a human anthropologist who had joined the discussion. Our early civilizations developed architecture and engineering specifically designed to withstand massive gravitational and environmental stresses. The aliens watched in amazement as the presentation showed human construction projects, buildings that rose hundreds of meters into the air, bridges spanning vast distances, and underground facilities that extended deep into the Earth's crust. Each structure was built to withstand forces that would destroy most Federation architecture. Ambassador Mortax studied an image of a human city skyline. These buildings must require tremendous structural support to avoid collapsing under your planet's gravity. To us, they're just normal buildings, replied Dr. Santos with a slight smile. What you're seeing as engineering marvels are simply the result of designing for our natural environment. Dr. Helrichs had been quietly scanning the human presenters throughout the session. May I ask about your species' lifespan and health characteristics? Living under such physical stress must impact your biological longevity. Dr. Chen consulted with her colleagues before answering. The average human lifespan is approximately 80 Earth years, though many individuals live significantly longer. Our cardiovascular and skeletal systems actually benefit from the gravitational stress. It keeps our bones dense and our muscles strong throughout our lives. The Federation medical officer was astounded. Most low-gravity species experience bone density loss and muscle atrophy as they age. Your environment essentially provides natural physical therapy for your entire population. General Webb, who had remained quiet during most of the technical discussions, finally spoke up. Doctor, there's something else you should know about human physiology. We haven't just adapted to our planet's gravity, we've learned to thrive in environments that are even more challenging. He activated a new section of the presentation showing underwater exploration vehicles, mountain climbing expeditions, and polar research stations. Humans routinely work in environments where pressure, temperature, and atmospheric conditions would be fatal to most known life forms. The images showed humans walking across frozen landscapes where the temperature was hundreds of degrees below freezing, diving to ocean depths where pressure exceeded anything the Federation had encountered, and working in desert conditions that would desiccate most species within hours. We've explored environments ranging from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks. General Webb continued. Our bodies can adapt to altitude changes that alter atmospheric pressure by significant factors, and we've developed technologies that allow us to work in the vacuum of space. Commander Zektar, who had joined this session via secure communication link, was reviewing the data from aboard the flagship. General Webb, are you saying that humans regularly expose themselves to environmental conditions that exceed even your planet's natural extremes? That's correct, Commander. Exploration and adaptation are fundamental aspects of human nature. We don't just survive in our environment. We actively seek out new challenges and environments to master. Dr. Helrix was frantically taking notes, her scientific excitement barely contained. From a biological perspective, this suggests that human physiology includes adaptation mechanisms that go far beyond simple gravitational conditioning. Your species appears to have evolved generalized resilience rather than specialized adaptation to specific conditions. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. That's an interesting observation. Human populations have spread across every habitable region of our planet. From tropical rainforests to Arctic ice fields, we've learned to survive and thrive in an enormous range of environmental conditions. Ambassador Mortax felt a growing sense of awe as he contemplated the implications. Dr. Chen, when your species develops interstellar travel capabilities, you won't be limited to planets with Earth-like conditions. You could potentially colonize worlds that most Federation species would consider uninhabitable. We've already begun planning for that possibility, Dr. Chen confirmed. Our space program has identified several potential colony worlds that other species might find challenging, but that we believe humans could adapt to with minimal technological support. The cultural exchange continued for several more hours, covering human art, philosophy, and social structures. What emerged was a picture of a species that had not merely survived on a harsh world, but had used those challenges to develop remarkable adaptability and resilience. As the session concluded, Ambassador Mortax realized that the Federation's understanding of planetary habitability might need complete revision. Earth wasn't a hostile world that had produced a struggling species. It was a training ground that had forged one of the most adaptable and physically capable civilizations the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Chen, he said as they prepared to depart, I believe the Federation has much to learn from humanity. We would be honored to continue these exchanges and explore the possibility of formal alliance between our peoples. Dr. Chen's smile carried a warmth that transcended species barriers. Ambassador, we look forward to building a lasting friendship between Earth and the Federation. We have much to offer each other. A week into the cultural exchange program, Dr. Helrix approached Dr. Chen with an unusual request. The Federation medical officer had been analyzing the biological data from their previous encounters, and her scientific curiosity had reached a critical point. Dr. Chen, would it be possible to observe humans performing more extreme physical activities? We need to understand the upper limits of your species' capabilities for our Federation integration assessments. Dr. Chen considered the request carefully. She had been expecting this question as the aliens continued to express amazement at routine human activities. We can arrange for you to observe some of our more demanding physical challenges. However, I want to ensure you understand that what we're about to show you represents normal human recreational activities, not superhuman feats. The demonstration was arranged at a nearby military training facility that specialized in extreme environment preparation. The Federation delegation arrived in their most advanced gravity suits, accompanied by multiple medical monitoring devices and emergency transport systems. Colonel Sarah Martinez, a veteran of the Elite Forces training program, would be conducting the demonstration. She was a compact, woman with visible muscle definition that made Dr. Helrich's scanners register readings that seemed impossible for a biological organism operating under such gravitational stress. Colonel Martinez holds several records in what we call obstacle course completion, Dr. Chen explained. This involves navigating physical challenges that test strength, endurance, agility, and problem-solving under time pressure. The course stretched across several acres and included barriers that towered multiple times higher than a human's height, walls that appeared to require scaling sheer surfaces, and obstacles that would demand precise coordination while carrying additional weight. Colonel Martinez began her run with a series of rapid sprints across uneven terrain. Her movements fluid despite the irregular surface. She approached the first obstacle, a vertical wall approximately 12 feet high with no handholds or assistance devices. How does she intend to scale that barrier? Asked Security Chief Torval, whose own species was renowned for their climbing abilities. Without pause, Colonel Martinez launched herself at the wall, her fingers finding tiny irregularities in the surface that the aliens couldn't even detect. She pulled herself upward with movements that generated enough force to crack stone, yet she maintained perfect control as she reached the top and vaulted over the other side. Dr. Helrich's scanner was registering energy outputs that exceeded her equipment's normal operational parameters. The muscle contractions required for that maneuver would generate approximately 3,000 newtons of force per square centimeter. That's enough pressure to deform most construction materials. The demonstration continued with increasingly impressive displays. Colonel Martinez carried metal containers weighing over 200 pounds while navigating narrow balance beams, crawled through confined spaces while dragging additional weight behind her, and completed precision jumping sequences that required launching her body across gaps that seemed impossible to cross. This is considered standard military fitness assessment? Ambassador Mortax asked, his voice carrying a note of disbelief. Colonel Martinez is above average, but not exceptionally so, Dr. Chen confirmed. Thousands of humans complete similar courses every year as part of their professional training. The most impressive portion of the demonstration involved what the humans called combat simulation under stress. Colonel Martinez was required to complete complex problem-solving tasks while her body was subjected to additional physical demands that would have been fatal to most Federation species. She lifted and moved objects weighing several hundred pounds while simultaneously analyzing tactical scenarios, maintained perfect accuracy with projectile weapons while performing acrobatic maneuvers, and demonstrated hand-to-hand combat techniques that generated kinetic forces exceeding anything in the Federation's military database. Stop! Security Chief Torval called out suddenly. Colonel Martinez, could you demonstrate those combat techniques at reduced intensity? My species serves as peacekeepers throughout Federation space, and I need to understand these capabilities for security assessment purposes. Colonel Martinez looked to Dr. Chen, who nodded approval. The human soldier approached a training dummy designed to simulate various alien physiologies, including models based on Federation species specifications. I'll demonstrate restraint techniques designed for situations where we need to subdue without causing permanent injury, she explained. These are based on controlling an opponent through joint manipulation and pressure points rather than blunt force trauma. Even at reduced intensity, her movements were devastatingly efficient. She demonstrated how a human could neutralize opponents through precise application of leverage and anatomy knowledge, using an opponent's own body weight and momentum against them. Dr. Helrichs was recording everything, her scientific mind struggling to process the implications. Colonel, what would happen if a human were to engage in physical combat on a world with gravity similar to ours? Colonel Martinez paused, considering the question seriously. Ma'am, in 1/10 Earth gravity, my jumping ability would increase by approximately 1,000%. My strength-to-weight ratio would allow me to manipulate objects and opponents in ways that would be impossible under Earth conditions. Honestly, it would be like fighting while flying. The aliens exchanged worried glances. Commander Zektar, monitoring from the flagship, spoke through their communication system. Colonel Martinez, are you saying that a single human soldier could potentially overpower multiple Federation peacekeepers in low-gravity conditions? I wouldn't want to test that theory, Commander, Colonel Martinez replied diplomatically. But based purely on physics, the gravitational advantage would be significant. General Webb, who had been observing quietly, stepped forward. Commander, I want to emphasize that this information is being shared in the spirit of transparency and cooperation. Humans have no aggressive intentions toward Federation species or territories. We understand, General, Ambassador Mortax assured him. However, we must consider security implications when proposing Federation membership. These capabilities could destabilize existing peacekeeping protocols. Dr. Chen had been anticipating this concern. Ambassador, we'd like to propose a different approach. Rather than viewing human physical capabilities as a threat, perhaps they could be considered a resource. Earth could provide specialized personnel for extreme environment operations and emergency response situations that currently exceed Federation capabilities. The demonstration concluded with Colonel Martinez completing an endurance test that required maintaining peak physical performance for over an hour under conditions that would have incapacitated most Federation species within minutes. As they returned to the conference facility, Dr. Helrix was already formulating her reports. Ambassador, we need to completely revise our threat assessment protocols. These humans represent a level of individual physical capability that exceeds our current military planning parameters. Ambassador Mortax nodded gravely. The question is whether we view this as an opportunity or a challenge. Humanity could become either the Federation's greatest allies or its most formidable adversaries. Given their behavior thus far, he continued, I believe they genuinely seek peaceful cooperation. But we must ensure that Federation leadership understands exactly what we're dealing with when we return with our recommendation.